Welcome to Reddissimo, home of great Reddit stories. Don't forget to subscribe now.
Aita for refusing to give my wife's family a large portion of her life insurance money. I lost my wife unexpectedly, and it has been one of the most difficult times in my life. She left me with $200,000 in life insurance, and I used $20,000 of it to cover the funeral expenses. Now, my wife's family is demanding a large portion of the remaining life insurance money. Her parents want to use it to rebuild their home in Florida that was destroyed in a recent hurricane. The thing is, they didn't have insurance, and I don't think it's fair for me to cover their losses with the money that my wife left me. My wife's brother also wants a portion of the money to pay for his college tuition. While I sympathize with his situation, I don't think it's my responsibility to fund his education. My wife left this money to me for a reason, and it's up to me to decide how to use it. When I told my wife's family that I couldn't give them the money they were asking for, they accused me of being selfish and not caring about their situation. They said that my wife would have wanted them to have the money and that I was going against her wishes. I feel terrible for my wife's family, but I also have my own financial responsibilities. I have bills to pay, and I want to make sure that I can take care of myself in the future. I don't want to put myself in a difficult financial situation by giving away a large portion of the life insurance money. This is an opportunity for me to pay off my debts and buy the dream home me and my wife always wanted. Maybe I'm being selfish, but I feel like I am not in the wrong. Me and my wife never really discussed what to do with life insurance money other than the occasional joke of buying the dream home we want or a starter one. I miss her so terribly. Am I the asshole for refusing to give my wife's family a large portion of her life insurance money? Comments. Aita. Death and money can bring out the worst in people. I'm sorry for your loss. I can't say it better than this. Aita. It's selfish of them to put you through this. Perfect add-on. Look, if your wife wanted her parents and brother money, she would have left them money. She did not because she wanted you to have it. You paid for whole funeral, none of them did. Sorry for your loss, but this is your money. Shame on them trying to guilt you. Also, everyone in Florida knows, have homeowners insurance. That is their fault. You can literally make anyone you want a beneficiary of your life insurance. Before my husband and I got married, I had my mother as beneficiary. You literally pick who it goes to when you file for it. I'm not sure about the insurance, but here in Australia with our super, we can actually dictate percentages for each beneficiary. Even if that can't be done with insurance, OP's late wife could have put it in her will how the insurance was to be divided if she wanted her bio family to get anything. Aita, they are the selfish, greedy, and disrespectful people here. Same in Canada, at least with some policies, 3 people benefit if I die, which was the maximum allowed on my policy.
New Reddit story. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button now.
Aita for not covering up my breasts when I saw my friend, her husband, and kids on holiday. Last week, I, 40 FUK, went on holiday to Lanzarote with husband Dan and 2 kids, girl 14 years old and boy 10 years old. Independently, our friends Helen and Graham were going to the same resort with their 2 girls, 9 and 7. We didn't make any formal plans to meet but said we might arrange dinner while we were there. One day, we were on the beach by the edge of the sea, paddling and playing bat and ball. I was topless. I always go topless on holiday if local laws allow. I've done it since around the age of 14, my mum and sisters did too. I know it's a contentious issue, especially in the US where people can be very prudish, but it's just a totally normal non-sexual thing for me. In Europe, it's very common and there were lots of topless women on the beach that day. I'm anticipating certain questions here. No, I am not a nudist. No, I don't parade around naked at home in front of my kids or their friends. I just sunbathe topless on holidays and in my garden. The kids don't bat an eyelid, but if I got any inclination it was a problem for them, I likely wouldn't do it. Helen and Graham's kids appeared unexpectedly and ran up to us. I looked round and Helen and Graham were there too. We greeted them. I gave each of them a kiss on the cheek as I always do when I greet my friends. We stood and chatted while the kids played, but Helen seemed quiet. Her girls asked me to play bat and ball with them. I said yes, but Helen abruptly said they had to go. Kids were disappointed, but Dan suggested meeting later for dinner. Graham accepted. Later I got a text from Helen to cancel dinner. She was upset with me for not putting a top on when we saw them. Quote, "Would it have killed you to put your tits away when we arrived?" She was angry that I'd kissed Graham while topless and that I was going to play bat and ball with her kids with my, quote, bare breasts swinging around. And later, her two girls were giggling about, quote, Sarah's massive wobbly breasts. She said she didn't want to see me that night. I was upset. I didn't think I'd done anything wrong given that we were on a beach where loads of women had their breast out. I didn't have a chance to cover up. The first I knew of their presence was when they were up close and had already seen I was topless. I'd have had to walk past them 50 foot up the beach to our towels etc. to put on a top. It would have been like shutting the stable door after the horse had bolted. I replied that I was sorry she was upset and that I'd made her angry. Since getting home I've texted her again but have had no response. Dan has seen Graham, who said he wasn't upset about it, but he and Helen had argued afterwards when she accused him of enjoying the view too much. Dan thinks I didn't do anything wrong. We weren't expecting to see them. There were other topless women their kids could giggle at and for Graham to feast his eyes on if that's what he really was doing, and by the way, neither of us think he was. But I'm sorry I've upset my friend and wonder if I'm an AITA. Comments. NTA. Nevertheless, topless beaches should be banned. It is wrong for people to go around topless. A case in point. Going topless in public should be made taboo. NTA, you and your massive wobbly breasts can do whatever you damn well please as long as the local laws allow. If she had a problem with it, she shouldn't have come up to you in the first place. She surely should have noticed you were topless from afar, before approaching. I suspect she was fine with strange breasts boobing but not someone her husband knew. She didn't want his potential fantasies close to home. But NTA, you didn't arrange to see them there, you were within local laws. It would have been akin to clutching at pearls to suddenly cover up when you saw them as implicitly judging them as prudes. Think the wife was more jealous than a prude, but sorry friendship has cooled. Yeah, agree. That's probably why most women who may be okay with their partner watching porn aren't okay if their partner receives nudes from a friend etc. Now that would pose a real threat in their eyes. That's the issue. Her husband saw her friend's breasts and didn't mind. NTA on OP. You bring kids to a beach in Europe that allows nude bathing at that's what the kids will see. A woman's breasts. It must be horrible for her knowing her husband and kids saw her tits and didn't care.
New Reddit story. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button now. AITA for bringing my baby to her sister's performance and not leaving when she cried. This has caused drama I was not expecting. I have 2 children with my ex-husband, Will, Penelope, 12F, and Johnny, 10M. A few years ago, I remarried Chris. We have a 6-month-old baby girl together, Lila. Penelope and Johnny live primarily with their father as he's closer to their school. They come to us on the weekends. Penelope is in the theater program at her school. I missed the fall shows because I was in labor and then had a newborn. Penelope understood as best a preteen girl can. Her spring show opened last week. Chris and Lila came with me. Will, Johnny and Will's wife, Ariana, were already there. Will saw I brought Lila and got a weird look about him, but Ariana hushed him and said, "Just let it go." Lila slept through the first half. A little before intermission, she awoke and was fussy. I began rocking her and trying to calm her while also watching the play. I got a few dirty looks from parents around me. I gave them a "what can you do" shrug, as it's a baby. At intermission, Will suggested Chris take Lila home. I said she should sleep during the second half and Chris said he wanted to watch the performance. Will started getting upset but again, Ariana had him walk away. Lila did fall asleep again. But halfway through Act 2, woke up and started screaming. It was loud enough this time that it did catch the performers off guard. I quickly went into the lobby with Lila. When I tried to go back in once she calmed, the usher wouldn't let me, saying once a person leaves, they're not allowed in to prevent interruptions. Meaning, I missed Penelope's solo. Penelope refused to see me after the show nor accept the flowers we bought for her. I watched her leaving with Ariana, who was consoling her. Will met me in the parking lot. He was pissed. He said I never should have brought Lila, pointing out he and Ariana got a sitter for their young child. I said I didn't want to leave Lila and felt it was good we all supported her. After missing the fall show, I wanted to be there for my daughter. I added it was just a middle school performance, it isn't the end of the world. He gave me a disgusted look and walks away. Penelope hasn't answered my calls or text. This weekend, she refused to come over. Chris thinks we were in the right, but my parents are just as pissed and called me an ass. Aita. Comments. YTA. Penelope did not feel good or supported that your infant with your new husband was so loud she distracted the actors and that ultimately, you ended up missing her solo to care for her. You should have gotten a sitter or at the absolute least taken her home when she started becoming distracting. It's also amazingly crappy to say it's not the end of the world that you ruined something so important to your daughter. You owe your daughter a massive apology for being selfish. And ruined it for the other parents and actors. And almost certainly embarrassed the hell out of poor Penelope. Like. I was a theater kid, we all talked mad shit backstage about people who didn't deal with noisy babies. If it was one of our parents we absolutely gave the offender's kid shit for it too. Exactly. She's going to be hearing about the rest of the school year. She's 12. And probably mortified about the fact that her mom brought a screaming infant to the play. YTA. Chris should have left during the break with her. You watching the play is way more important than him watching the play. Better yet, you should have gotten a babysitter for a few hours so you could properly support your daughter. The fact that she's refusing calls and visits makes me think that there's more than a few missed plays due to labor and newborn. No, she is 12, she is going to deny knowing who that woman with the crying baby was. At most it will be an aunt, which is why her dad and mom, who she lives with, seem to know them. One of my friends in school denied one of her parents because they did embarrassing things like this all the time. Which is only possible if the other kids don't know, but they're smart. They'll probably figure it out real fast, if they haven't already. Especially since they've probably seen her mom around school with school things before. Matters, 7th grade can mean middle school and that can mean a new school with a bunch of elementary schools blending together. Mom was busy having a baby 6 months ago so she might not have been all that involved at school at the beginning of 7th grade. Whereas, all the new friends have met stepmom who she can claim is mom, especially if she has friends over to her house after school.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so. This will help us grow. Thank you once again. You guys rock.